For Logan and John, I mean, when you had your own kind of episode that was just you two kind of going back and forth, I mean, I am interested in the writing process of that because it is such a dense episode, but when you're reading that script for the first time and kind of preparing for it, what's that process like for you guys? Like, what went into that, and how long did you have? I mean, it's such an intense, beautiful episode, and I feel like you should be given, months to prep, but, it's TV, that doesn't happen.
No. Also had like less time to shoot it.
Yeah, we shot it in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Patrick, what'd you think when you first got the script?
My ears were burning the entire time. I felt this intense fire on the side, flames on the side of my face.
Yes, Clue reference.
Yes. Thank you.
To it.
I was, from the moment that I picked it up, like I was just, it was almost like, the starting of a rocket. I felt like the engine's burning, and I just knew that it wasn't, that like it was just going to be this mission to like get in the room with Sam and as Gabe, and get in there with Justin and feel the space. Justin had a really good way of like breaking down the turning points within the conversation, and we had a few conversations like leading up till, but it was. I was just filled with creative, emotional energy constantly. And Logan and I spent, a good night together, drinking wine.
Like, not like a night together.
Let me preface.
Send the shippers
I
crazy.
was like ready to
I will preface this part of the story with that Logan has a fantastic work ethic that I really respond to.
Time's up.
Time's up. Did it. Sorry. Is it time for me to?
No.
Okay.
See Logan's side of this equation. What was that episode like for
She's
you?
really good at what she does.
All of these
She
things are true,
cares.
Logan. All of these things are true. Thanks, Ash. You're welcome.
You're all filthy. Naughty minds.
I knew it wouldn't take long for us to get completely inappropriate.
Never does.
It's us.
Every
I love
time.
it.
Trying to talk about like how intimate just the whole experience of like working on this set is. There's a familial intimacy.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
I got your back. Among all of us.
Non-sexual intimacy.
I'm not gonna say that if this wasn't like 1972. Like,
Okay.
All
right. Okay, listen. So when we got this script, I was so excited because I can't even focus.
You're stressed out. You're stressed.
Give it to me and Ben.
She knows
Here.
me. Actually, literally, like she knows what I'm saying.
Her eyes are watering. She's like,
I just loved that Justin and Jack put this episode together, and one of the most exciting parts for me was when we came in on a day off into the radio station, the three of us and Jack P. Moore, who wrote the episode, and we blocked the entire episode, which you never get to do. It was literally like a play, and I felt like it was kind of like a mini movie. We got to tell a full story top to bottom and know where we were going, a full roadmap, and that allowed for real magic and fun to happen when we got to filming because we knew where we were going, and now we're just fine-tuning. And Justin was so good about saying things like, when Sam comes in, she's not coming in to be an aggressor. We're not there yet. She's just gonna come in and she's just saying hi to Gabe. It's not until this moment that it switches, and that kind of stuff is so much fun for us to play with. So
It was fun for me. I mean, I think we all have a love for that theater way of doing things, and we only had 3 days to shoot it, but because essentially it's all in that room, we were able to not take the time. We never have time, but like treat it that way. It wasn't about like sort of logistics, which a TV show is very much about. We had space in the schedule to just think about the scenes and do the craft. I mean, that's the part we love, And Jack, who has a playwriting background, I started in theater. Just sort of like working through the material and figuring out the motivations and the that stuff and like figuring out the strategy of how to shoot that stuff. Like that is the part I love. And it was just this little, I mean, I get to do that all over the show, but it was this little oasis of getting to treat the thing as a whole, which you never really get to do. And I think you can feel it. You can feel it in the episode.
For sure.
One of the more intense episodes was definitely Coco's this year, which was you know, really, really kind of just a moving experience overall. But you know, obviously, Antoinette, your performance within it was just something else. And one, I was curious when you kind of found out that you had your own episode. Two, you know, when you got the script and learned about the subject matter, how did that conversation go? And then, you know, what did you do to kind of prepare, especially for the ending of that, which is a really powerful moment?
Actually, Justin and Yvette took me aside before the table read to let me know Coco was gonna have an unplanned pregnancy this season, and that the choice was that she was gonna have an abortion, and they asked how I felt about it. And I was very grateful that they chose Coco as the vessel to tell this story through, because I feel like women of color are underrepresented when we're having conversations about women's health. And I just wanted to have this moment where we show both sides of the story, where there's a girl who's doing everything right and something happens and she gets pregnant. And she makes a decision, and through no fault of her own, she can't. There's a world that has to exist for the Cocos to feel like they can do what they want with their bodies and not be vilified for it. And I thought it was just so beautiful for us to cultivate that relationship with Penelope. I think I thought I was pregnant on set, y'all. I ate so much food. No lie, we had to go up a size. But this baby had to be so real to me, because if Penelope wasn't real to me, it wouldn't have been real to you. And you wouldn't have felt the loss of that when you realize that she chooses not to have the baby. But I just thought it was so beautiful, because Coco doesn't let people take care of her. So the idea that she could have this child and get the unconditional love that her mother never gave her, and that she could also have someone that would love her unconditionally, something that she'd never had, and also be the mother to Penelope that she never had, speaking life into her in a way that she wished her mother could in these moments of her life. So I thought it was just so powerful, and I was just so grateful that they gave me the opportunity.
I mean, was it important for kind of all of you to have that follow-up episode? I mean, obviously, Logan, that was intense for you, but when the three of you got to go on the trip and kind of have a little bit of comedic back and forth, was that, you know, like a refreshing change of pace? And you know, kind of how did that go down on set?
So much fun.
It was fun. Also, so like in my real life, I lost my dad about 3 years ago, and so I remember having my girlfriends being there for me in the way that these women were there for Sam, and it was so, it's a moment where the audience gets to see Black sisterhood. I mean, whenever would you imagine Joelle, Coco, and Sam together on a trip? Like, it doesn't work, but it actually does.
Yeah.
And it shows how strong Black women are, and how, just how compassionate we are. But it was fun to film. With that car scene, we were, can we say that it was
They have me in the middle of, I don't know if y'all saw that,
If they don't know, that's
but I'm
good.
like
so.
peeking through the thing, and
the
we're
goal.
singing at the top of our lungs, and it was just beautiful, because like, even though Sam and Coco are at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how they choose to use their power and or their activism, how they choose to navigate this world, it was just nice to see Coco be there for Sam. And it's to show support no matter what, because life is bigger than Winchester. Like, there's so many other things that are going on, and for women to just put their feelings aside and support each other is so powerful.
Yeah, imagery, I just think the imagery of it is in so many ways during this particular time, particularly in media and television, was just iconic. Like, when was the last time, like we said, we saw 3 young Black women together, having a good time, supporting each other, you know.
insecure, but.
No. I was gonna say, for that one, except for on Insecure. Okay, but that's kind of my point. Like, if we're like,
You're right.
if we're like, dear white people insecure, like that's not enough.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
not.
Because how many
Yeah.
people in this audience are doing that? You know what I mean? Like, so many people, that's their experience. So we need to be more representative of that. And I just feel so proud, and I will continue to say it, to be on a show that gives that type of imagery. That's the type of legacy I want to be a part of.
Yeah.